All right. Good evening. My name is Ashley Verville. I am the Director of Communications for the Cherry Creek School District. Tonight is our fourth and final candidate forum. Thank you so much for attending this important event and for taking the time to make an informed decision regarding the future leadership of the Cherry Creek School District. A big thank you to Overland High School for hosting tonight's forum and to all the staff who have helped with the event. Tonight is a community forum where candidates for the Board of Education will have an opportunity to introduce themselves to you and answer questions that are of interest to our community. Earlier today, the district was notified by Amanda Thayer and Tatiana Sturm that they will not be participating in tonight's forum. We will answer community and audience questions. However, given the participation of only half the candidates, tonight's event will likely end earlier than scheduled. This year, we have 2 contested races in District D and E. We offered 4 forums for all candidates to address the audience, to introduce themselves and why they want to be a member of the Board of Education. We will start with introductory remarks and then move into 2 rounds of questions, a quick round or a hand raise, and questions from our community. Community questions may be directed at all candidates or specific candidates. Candidates will have 1 minute to answer the question. These questions were collected from various district parent groups, local PTCOs, and previous forums. Audience members here tonight are also able to submit questions for review via the QR code or a note card. We will try to get to as many community questions as possible. Every forum is being recorded and is posted on the district website in its entirety. We ask that as candidates respond, the audience reacts appropriately and that we show respect to these individuals who have stepped forward as willing volunteers for this important leadership role. Prior to this evening, each candidate was provided the opportunity to respond to 5 informational questions posted on the district website under the 2025 Board of Education election page. I encourage you to learn more about each person after tonight's forum. Our candidates from District D and E will have 2 minutes each to introduce themselves and share why they are interested in being on the Board of Education. Tonight, we'll begin with Mike Hamrick from Director District E.
Good evening. God, this feels like old home week to me. My wife was here for 32 years. My son graduated from here. In fact, the last time I think I was in this auditorium was for Footloose. Overland's got a dear place in my heart. My name is Mike Hamrick. I'm a veteran. I'm a parent of 2 Cherry Creek graduates, one from here at Overland and one from Grandview. And I'm also a grandparent of a kindergartner that just started this year. In fact, he's here today, sitting in the back there. So, that's one of my reasons why. For my grandson, for the great education that my kids received in Cherry Creek schools. I also serve on the Long Range Facility Planning Department, and with that, we're looking at what we need to do over 5-10 years across the Cherry Creek School District campus. I also serve on the Boundary Subcommittee, and that's the committee that looks at all the attendance boundaries for all our schools across the district. Some other things I've done, was also the president of my HOA, my Metro District, and why do I bring that up? Because I developed budgets, I executed budgets, I made budgets that were fair and transparent for our community, to improve our community. And also, I've served on the Arapahoe County Budget Committee. I'm not a financial genius by no means. I have a degree in history and government. But budgets are how we execute things in government settings. And I think that's a skill I will help bring to Cherry Creek schools, besides my listening skills. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm really excited that I saw a bunch of students here tonight too.
Great, thank you. Terry.
Good evening. My name's Terry Bates, and Cherry Creek has been home to my family for more than 21 years. All of my 5 children graduated from CCSD schools. During that time, my wife and I volunteered in the district, supported families in need, and seen firsthand the incredible impact our schools have on students' lives. I grew up in a family of educators. My mom, my dad, and my grandfather were teachers. My dad was a special education teacher and later became a principal of a school dedicated to students with special needs. My 5 kids are all different. One of my children is on the autism spectrum. 2 graduated at the top of the class. That experience has shown me that every student's journey is unique. Our schools must support every learner at every level. I know the value of hard work and opportunity. I paid for 100% of my own college education, graduated from the University of Michigan, earned my CPA license, and built a 22-year career as the chief financial officer and a senior executive at major companies here in the Denver area. Along the way, I've also served on the board of directors for 10 companies where I focused on financial stewardship, governorship, and accountability. I'm running because I believe every student deserves an equal opportunity to learn, to grow, and to find their pathway of purpose. At a time when federal and state funding is uncertain, we need steady, experienced leadership to protect the classrooms, support our teachers, and use taxpayers' dollars wisely. I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Great. We'll now move into the quick round of questions. I will read a series of statements. If you agree with the statement or if the statement applies to you, please raise your hand. If you disagree or it does not apply to you, leave your hand down. First question. I believe the Cherry Creek School District is a destination district for families and staff alike. I believe the state of Colorado adequately funds K-12 public education in Colorado. I think public schools should provide mental health services. I support the district's efforts to continuously collaborate and build relationships with our Teachers Association and other employee groups. I believe in hiring more teachers of color to reflect the demographics of our student body is an important goal. Educational equity is a goal I value, and I will continue to support it as a Cherry Creek School Board of Education member. I supported the 2024 bond measure, which led to the renovation of the IST building and the construction of a pool on the Overland campus. If elected, I understand I must take an oath to uphold state and federal law and the policies of the Cherry Creek School District. I understand that board policy must align with the State Board of Education regulations as well as state and federal law. I support the student-based health centers currently located at 3 schools across the district, including the Overland and Prairie campus. I have toured the Cherry Creek Innovation Campus, and I know the pathways available. I support the Healthy School Meals for All program and additional measures to help fund the program. Okay, great. Next, we will proceed to our community questions. These questions were collected from various Cherry Creek parent groups, such as Parents Council, school PTCOs, and previous forums. Audience members here tonight, as I said, are also able to submit questions for review via the QR code or a note card. Community questions may be directed at all candidates or specific candidates. Please remember that the response to each question is limited to 1 minute and should be completed when the buzzer sounds. First question, how do you propose to ensure fiscal responsibility? Do you believe Cherry Creek School District is lacking in this currently? Terry, we'll start with you.
Cherry Creek Schools have done an awesome job managing fiscal responsibility. For example, in our school district, admin costs, okay, or let's, only 3.8% of our total labor costs go to non-school staff. compared to much higher rates in neighboring districts. This allows us, because we're efficient from an admin perspective, or what I'll call overhead staffing, being lower than anybody in the metro area, we get to invest more money in classrooms, teachers, and student success. However, state funding and federal funding is in serious jeopardy in the coming years, and that's what we have to plan and prepare for.
Mike, same question.
Well, I agree. I think our overhead or admin cost is very low. Someone who worked in the industry, working with K-12 schools around the Metro District, it's very apparent how little overhead administrative costs that Cherry Creek has. I love that we're putting, I forget the exact number, 88, 89% of our taxpayer dollars into the classroom for our students. I also like that we have it all posted on the website, so the taxpayers can go look at what is in the budget and where it's being spent and where it's going to. So yes, I do believe Cherry Creek has been a great steward of the taxpayer dollar, and I think if I'm successful on the board, I will ensure that continues in the future.
Thank you. How would you reallocate money in the current district budget? What areas do you believe receive too much funding, and what areas should receive more? Mike.
Well, that's a tough one. I could tell you where I would not reallocate it, and that is out of the classroom and away from our students. That needs to be our number one priority day in and day out, is keeping our class sizes at a proper balance for our educators and our students. I'd have to really work with Scott Smith, our CFO, our other board members, our parent groups, to look at areas in the budget to see if there are any items that we would move around. But I think currently we're pretty balanced, and that's where I would remain.
Great. Terry, same question.
I've been doing this at every company that I've worked at for the last 22 years, looking at opportunities to reallocate money, especially in times when there's budget cuts or funding cuts. Frankly, this is my job as a chief financial officer. I have no desire to be the CFO for the school board. For the school district. We have one. I'm going to help bring oversight on reviewing the plan submitted by the CFO and the superintendent. The first thing I would want to do, though, is better understand the magnitude of the issue over the next few years. Second, I'd meet with the superintendent, the DLT, and colleagues to get their recommendations. I'd have some overarching goals: protect and strengthen core instruction, retain and recruit the best teachers, maintain safe, functional facilities and infrastructure, and continuing to narrow equity gaps.
Okay, next question is for Mike specifically. Your wife is a sitting state representative. Do you believe this poses a potential conflict of interest?
My wife is a lifetime educator. 32 years here at Overland High School. I couldn't be prouder of her. She legislates like a teacher, where she brings a whole lot of diverse people together. She's been a champion for public schools across the state of Colorado, not just Cherry Creek, but for school funding all across the state of Colorado, and I admire her for that. As you know, as a school board member, I have no control over state funding. She would have no control over the school board. So I do not see it as a conflict of interest. I see us as two different entities working to better our community, make it a safer community, and keep our education system, especially in Cherry Creek, as high as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry, this question is for you. You're running to fill your wife's seat on the current Board of Education. What will you do differently than she did?
I'm not sure how many people have met my wife. Her name's Kelly. She's dedicated 21 years and thousands of hours at all different levels throughout the school district, starting at Creekside Elementary, then at Liberty Middle School, and then at CT and at Grandview, and then other parent groups, and then for the last 8 years, serving on the Board of Education. I have tremendous respect and admiration for what my wife has done and contributed to this district. Times are changing. You'll hear this several times tonight. State funding and federal funding is in jeopardy. We have to make some tough decisions over the next few years, and my financial expertise and senior executive experience will help through these tough times.
Great, thank you. If the superintendent were to retire during your tenure as a board member, what are your must-have credentials to be considered in the next superintendent? Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm going to start with communication skills. A new superintendent would have to be kind of like the one we have now, that can communicate with staff, educators, our students, the state legislature. You know, we need someone with great communication skills. It goes without saying you'd want a superintendent that has education skills and has worked in a diverse school district like we have here in Cherry Creek Schools. But definitely someone that, you know, can work well, like I said, with staff, educators. Oh, I forgot to mention, and also parents. They're a great part of our education system as well. So that's what I would look for.
Thank you. Terry, same question.
There's about 5 things that come to mind. 1, proven educational leadership. 2, a commitment to students, teachers, and families. 3, financial and operational stewardship. And then I'd like alignment with Cherry Creek's core values and our strategic plan. And finally, integrity and collaboration. And folks, I apologize for my eyes. The lights here are pretty bright, so I apologize.
Thank you. How will future bond measures help improve reading and math scores? Terry, we'll start with you.
I'm not sure if everyone understands on bonds, but on the bonds, they can only be used on capital investments. So the bonds cannot be used for day-to-day operational expenses. So for example, here, you know, at Overland, we're expanding the IST building and we're putting in a pool. So those are examples of where you can use a bond for. So what we would want to look at, and what I'm interested in learning more about, is how education and teaching is going to change due to AI. So I think we need to step back and look at how things are going to change over the coming years due to AI, because we want to make sure our kids, when they graduate, they take advantage and they're ready for the workforce with taking and, you know, using AI.
Mike, same question.
Well, like every bond I've volunteered on in the past, it's about investing in our students. And that's what the bonds do, and that's what a school board member should do, and I know that's what our educators do. You know, we could create some great spaces that are welcoming for students to learn. You know, I toured recently Woodland Elementary, and you walk down the hallway and there's all these little reading nooks and tables for kids to practice reading, work on math skills. So sometimes the building could promote, you know, those growth items in our students. But it's not just the building. We need to invest in our classrooms, and if we need additional help in like reading and math programs, then hopefully we can create some programs that will put additional assistance for our students.
Great, thank you. Many families do not have the time or resources to volunteer. How will you ensure those parents' voices are heard and valued? Mike, start with you.
Yeah, I understand that so many people are working, 40, 60, 80 hours a week to put a roof over their house and food on their table. What I would try to do is be accessible at all times, via email, via phone, be a board member that parents can reach out to. Also, we need to, sorry, I'm laughing at my grandson. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I apologize when a cute kindergartner came down.
Yeah, the
But
families.
can I finish the 21 seconds real quick? But we also need to be board members, and this goes for all of us, to be present in the community where the parents are, not just here on a stage at Overland High School, but going to community functions, going to events, going to cultural events, to be there to talk to families and their parents and their students. That was a train of thought I forgot, so thank you.
Terry, same question.
Yeah, I echo many of Mike's comments as well. The first thing I'd want to do is I need to spend some due diligence. I need to spend time listening, asking questions, and finding out from the parents what works and what ideas do they have for improvement in terms of trying to get the engagement and communication. Many parents, we have dual income parents. To Mike's point, there's not enough time in the day. Then when you get home from work, you're trying to take care of your kids, making sure, they're studying and helping them, or you got school activities. So I got to find out more. What other ideas can we do to help parents get more, more communication to them?
Thank you. With such a diverse student population and community across the Cherry Creek School District, what challenges and opportunities does this bring? Terry, start with you.
For me, excuse me, sorry about that. Just from a background perspective, I'm from the Metro Detroit area, and I'm used to going to public schools that are extremely diverse. Frankly, I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's what America is all about, is diversity. And it's one of our core values, equity. And in the bottom of my heart, I believe that core value is perfect. We need to keep moving forward and doing everything possible to enhance and embrace that one core value.
Mike, same question.
Well, yeah, it starts with, the one core value, equity. Equity for all our students, no matter if they're, what school they are, what culture they are, anything. We need to celebrate our diversity. One of the things I love about Overland High School, this is probably the most diverse high school in the state of Colorado. And over the years, with my son going here, my wife teaching here, I got to see all these different cultures interact, work together, and celebrate who they are, what they are, and where they're from. So, yeah, there's always challenges. So, maybe we have to increase some English language support for those that have just came into our country, but we need to celebrate this diversity. That's what America's about.
Thank you. How do you plan to support essential yet historically underserved employees in the district, such as EOPs, paraeducators, kitchen staff, etc.? Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, first of all, just even like our educators, we need to pay them a livable wage. If they're working for the district, they need to be able to be paid enough to support their families, put food on the table, roof over their heads. What I'd love to see is salary surveys. Where are our folks at compared to the rest of the employees across other districts in the state of Colorado, and especially the Metro District? And it's about respect. We need to respect the dedication that they all do in their roles that support our students. I was fortunate enough to work with the maintenance staff for many years, and they're awesome, and they do great work. And I see the maintenance facilities managers in the house, and I'm not brown-nosing, but no, all the support staff means everything to Cherry Creek Schools.
Thank you. Terry, same question.
Could you repeat it, please?
Sure. How do you plan to support essential yet historically underserved employees in the district, such as EOPs, paraeducators, kitchen staff, and the like?
Philosophically, I believe in fair compensation, respect, and an opportunity for growth for every employee. Philosophically, I think it's really important to make sure we're paying a wage that's competitive in the marketplace. I think from a business perspective, I know we're talking about a school district, but there's a lot of hidden costs when you have turnover. You can save money by maybe paying a little bit more than the market and then retaining employees. People underestimate the hidden costs associated with turnover. So I definitely believe I'm being very competitive on compensation.
Thank you. How would you continue the district's vision of increasing diversity among staff? Terry, we'll start with you.
I know by speaking with the prior board members or current board members and with the superintendent and the VP of HR, I understand what the goal has been for a number of years. The current board and the superintendent are committed to trying to get a workforce, teachers that look like the community, the students coming to school. It's a proven fact that students will learn better and have greater appreciation for the classroom when they see people that look similar to them. So I think trying to get diversity in the schools that match the community is a great goal. That's already going forward, and I think we need to continue that emphasis.
Mike, same question.
Well, a lot of what Terry said is correct. Our educators need to look like our students. I think it helps our students learn, and we need to focus on that. Not the sole reason, but we need to focus on that, and we also need to hire the highest quality teachers available. And how can we do that? We do it through the salaries we pay our educators, the benefits we provide, and also, it's really, I think, showing where the district goals have been is that retention of diverse educators has increased, I think, last year from the prior year, 16% to 32%. So teachers are starting in the district, and they're staying in the district. And we can't underestimate the value of this Aspiring Teacher program coming up, too.
Thank you. How do you plan to help increase state funding to offset potential withholding of federal funds? Mike.
Could you
Sir.
repeat that, please?
Sure. How do you plan to help increase state funding to offset potential withholding of federal funds?
Whew, that's a tough one. First, I think the CFO, the superintendent, board members need to be lobbying the folks down at the Golden Dome down there on Colfax to increase per pupil funding. They recently ended the BS factor, I think it was 2 years ago, but even with that, we're only at 1989 requirements where funding should be for our students. I mean, how much has inflation and the cost of living gone up since 1989? So it's definitely something that needs to be done, but we're going to have to work on the state to look at different types of pathways to raise funds for K-12 education.
Terry, same question.
I've met with the CFO of the district, and I know he's been downtown a number of times lobbying for money. I would go with him, along with other board members, the superintendent, whatever we have to do to advocate for more money. Currently, the state of Colorado ranks around 44th in the whole country in terms of funding public education. That's embarrassing. That's way too low. We've got to get a fair share of the state budget for public education. And I would be an advocate, lock arm in arm with the school board, the superintendent, and the CFO, and any other constituents that want to help on this matter.
Thank you. What is the best way to measure progress and achievement? Terry.
Sorry about that. Achievement, I kind of look at the students, okay? What are they engaged in? How engaged are they in the classrooms, okay? What's our attendance rate? What's our graduation rates? How do our kids do after graduating from high school? How many have found that pathway of purpose before they graduate from high school? What type of extracurricular activities are the kids involved with? I'd rather see the kids involved with any type of extracurricular activity versus being on their cell phone or social media. We got to get the kids engaged in other activities other than their cell phones and social media. So we got to look at the students from a holistic perspective and make sure they're ready for life after high school.
Terry, or I'm sorry, Mike, same question.
Well, there's so many ways. The news is always want to focus on one test that took place on one day of a student's academic year. But I think what we need to do is look at things like the 92% graduation rate in Cherry Creek schools, the number of Betcher scholars, I believe Overland had one last year, the number of Daniels scholars, and I think Overland had one last year. That shows that our district is working to make our kids academically ready for the next level in college. Also, looking at the workforce skills that comes out of the programs like at CCIC, and these students that are entering the workforce immediately upon graduation and becoming valued members to our community and taxpayers to our community. And I think that's an important metrics as well that we need to look at, not just college.
Thank you. With funding cuts on the horizon at the state level, how would you work to protect small class sizes? Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, this kind of touches on some of the things we've already talked about, with having to, of course, lobby for additional funding for the classrooms. But I have to tell you, the biggest thing we could do, and it's from the budget. That is our moral compass to what Cherry Creek schools will do moving forward. We need to make sure our budget funds our classes and keeps our class size small
Great.
as possible.
Terry, same question.
Our true north, or my true north, and I think everyone here would agree, it's our kids, it's the students. We need to do whatever it takes to make sure our students, our kids, get a great education like we've done for the last 75 years at Cherry Creek School District. So we need to prioritize. What I'm concerned about is if you increase classroom size, I don't think the kids are going to get the same quality of education that they've grown accustomed to in this school district. So that would be one of my priorities, is maintaining classroom size.
Thank you. What are your plans to ensure that the physical and emotional safety of students is a priority regardless of their immigration status? Terry, we'll start with you.
Part of our core value is equity and the whole well-being. The immigration status is irrelevant to me in terms of providing a quality education to any student in this school district. If a student comes into our schools, he or she deserves an excellent education and an opportunity for an excellent education and a pathway to purpose.
Mike, same question.
Yeah, we have an obligation that we educate all of our kids in Cherry Creek School, no matter where they're from, into statement. That is a requirement that has to take place all the time. It's part of the American dream. Without educating our population, we can't expect folks to be contributing citizens down the road. You know, part of it with these students, all of our students, they need to feel safe, secure, and welcome in our schools.
Thank you. How will you advocate for a continued commitment to mental health staffing and resources? Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, quite frankly, the well-being of our students is one of our guiding lights as well in Cherry Creek Schools. We're fortunate that we have some of the health clinics we have in Cherry Creek Schools, but we have other resources. I'm drawing a blank on the name. I want to say Horizon Health. I could be off on that just a little bit. But we have the Safe to Tell program. And for those with severe mental needs, we have the Traverse Academy. Those kids that need some mental health care can still attend school, progress like their peers, and then, you know, the goal is to have them return to the classroom. Thank you.
Terry, same question.
Partnerships are key with families, schools, and community providers. Each play a role in student wellness. I'd strengthen partnerships with mental health organizations like Hazel Health, All Health Network, and Judy's House, while ensuring parents are active partners in intervention and prevention efforts. The new Traverse Academy is an example of how Cherry Creek leads in addressing serious student mental needs. Together, we can ensure every child gets timely, effective support, both inside and outside the classroom.
Thank you. All right, for the last community question of the evening, how will Cherry Creek manage Aurora's rapid growth to prevent overcrowding and protect class sizes? Terry, we'll start with you.
We have a long-range planning, oh, this is a lot better. We have a long-range planning committee that looks out 5, 10, 15 years in terms of the demographics. We need to continue looking at the changing demographics. I think over the last couple of years, we've been in a difficult situation with the high interest rates on mortgages. Folks their kids have already graduated from schools, they can't afford to downsize because mortgage rates are so high, so they can't leave the school district, but they can't sell their houses because the cost of going into the next house with the current interest rates are just too high. So we've got to be aware of the changing demographics in the school district and continue to stay abreast of that.
Mike, same question.
That's what I do in my part-time job. Look at the serving on the long-range facility planning committee and the boundary subcommittee. We get real-time data on attendance at each and every school in Cherry Creek. If we have a school that has an abundance of students, then we usually have to move the boundaries around and move kids from one school to another. We do this in many ways so we don't totally impact the family. You know, you have maybe a 5th grader and a 2nd grader. We take these factors all into account. But we have that on this part of town. Village East is busting at the seams, and to the south we have Sagebrush that doesn't have near as many students for the capacity of that school. So the staff that works on that, we get real-time data, we monitor it, and we adjust from there.
Thank you. We will now provide each candidate 1 minute for any closing remarks. We will start with Terry Bates from Director District D.
In summary, there are 3 key things to remember about me. First, I believe every child deserves equal access to a high-quality education and the opportunity to develop their pathway of purpose. Second, to achieve that, we must invest in our teachers and staff, engage parents as true partners, and keep our schools safe for every child. Third, experience matters. As a chief financial officer and senior executive, I've led through difficult times and challenges and made tough decisions with transparency and integrity. I'll bring that same steady leadership and commitment to public education to keep Cherry Creek strong for every student, every family, and every future. I'm honored to earn your vote, and for the avoidance of doubt, Mike and I are not running against each other, so please vote for both of us.
Mike.
I'll say this, kids matter. That's why we're all here. That's why we're here tonight. And when I say kids matter, I mean all kids matter. Also, experience matters. My work over the last couple decades includes working on almost every, I think not almost, every bond campaign in Cherry Creek schools. My experience on the Long Range Facility Planning Committee, on the Boundary Subcommittee, these are skills that will make me a successful school board member. And with that, I'd like to ask for your vote, for your support. And as Terry said, he got a plug in there. Vote for both myself and Terry. You know, I plan on being there. I plan on being accessible, and you can reach out to me anytime now before the election, or if I'm successful after the election, and I will be there. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our program this evening. Thank you to the candidates for taking the time to be here, and to the audience for your attention and desire to make an informed decision. Again, a big thank you to the staff of Overland High School for hosting us tonight. As a reminder, tonight's forum has been recorded and will be available on the Cherry Creek School District website. Have a great night, and remember to vote.